We're going to make a very simple app that just does this. Check it out. I'll go ahead and hit run. And here we go. Here's the gist of it. You should be able to click on one of the shapes, in this case the circle, and drag it into the middle of the square. And once it gets in the middle of the square, you win. Boom. Simple game using some of the coding techniques that we're learning now. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to call this the gathering game. By the way, you should go into CMU and you should go to Sandbox right up here. And then you'll have a blank sandbox. We're going to call this the gathering game. I like to put in some a comment to remind me what it is I want to do before I write the code. And let me go ahead and zoom in a bit for you. So you guys can actually see the code that I'm writing. Okay, and let's also get in the habit of saving these guys. So we'll save as, and you can go ahead and call it the gathering game. There we go, gathering game. If you want, you can call it gathering game 1. We might expand on it later, and then hit save. Anyways, that way we'll be able to get back to it later. Let's see here. First of all, let's see here. What does the game entail? It entails we will have a shape that is randomly placed on the canvas, and the player must grab the shape and put it in the goal. Okay, so let's start off by making a shape. And we're going to make our shape a circle because that's a pretty easy one to make. Not a lot of thinking. But we are going to do some fancy stuff that we don't normally do. You know what? Actually, let me think about this. Let's see if we can get this to work. We're going to try something kind of fancy. Let's go, let's set the center X of the circle equal to rand range 50, 350. Not quite sure that this will work, but we're going to give it a try. Center Y will be set to rand range 50, 350. And then we're just going to put center X here and center Y here, and then we'll just make up the radius. We'll call the radius 20, and let's go ahead and run it and see if that works. That seems, I'll run it a few times, and you should also, and that seems to be working. So what I was concerned about was I can't remember whether or not I can make a variable that's just, just like this, center X, but it turns out I can. So that's good. Okay, so now we've now got this randomly created shape. Let's go ahead and make it so that it has a different color other than black. So fill equals red. And then let's make a goal that we want to put the red circle into. So goal equals rectangle. And what we're going to do is we're going to always place the rectangle in the same place. We could make it random also, but I don't want to get too crazy. We'll put it in the center of the screen, and we'll make it 50 wide and 50 high. And then we'll set the fill equal to none, and we'll set the border equal to black. Okay. You might have some questions at this point. You might be wondering, do I have to set the border equal to black if I set the fill equal to none? That's a great question. You should try that out and see how it works. Also, you might be wondering about this rand range thing. Rand range, what it does, it's a function that simply selects a random number between 50 and 350, including both 50 and 350. And then with this equal sign here, it will put whatever value into this variable that I have made called center X. And then we do the same thing for center Y. And then we can use those two variables to set the center X for the circle and set the center Y for the circle. Okay, let's continue on. We are going to make a function that will check to see if we're dragging the mouse. It is called we will define def on mouse drag. And normally here we'll see like mouse X comma mouse Y, and that works just fine. But for simplicity and to make things move faster, I'm just going to use lowercase x and lowercase y. They will work just fine the same way. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use an advanced technique. Well, first of all, we're going to use an if statement, yay. And second of all, we're going to use an advanced technique to see if our red circle is inside the goal. And that advanced statement is called, well, first of all, we'll say if shape1 dot, and we will say, the first thing I want to do is check to see if my mouse is near the red circle. So we're going to check to see if shape1 hits x comma y. Now, if that's the case, what that means is that my mouse must be hitting the shape, okay? It's checking to see, by the way, X and Y is my mouse position. You can actually see it down here in the lower right corner. If I go over here, my mouse position is close to 400 by 400. Up here, it's close to 200 by 200. If my mouse position gets close to shape 1, which is our red circle, if it touches it, then we want to do something. And in this case, what we'd like to do is we would like to set shape1 dot center x equal to whatever the mouse position is, and we'll set shape1 dot center y equal to whatever the mouse position is. And what this will do is it'll give it the appearance that we're actually dragging the red shape around. Let's go ahead and hit run and give it a try. I'm going to go ahead and hit run. There we go. I want to get the red circle far away from the rectangle. And then I'm going to go and position my mouse somewhere over the red circle. It doesn't matter where I go, because as soon as I click on the red circle, as soon as I start dragging on the red circle automatically is centered on the mouse. So wherever I drag, now, by the way, you will notice that the red circle has a hard time keeping up with the mouse, so don't drag too quickly. We may figure out how to fix that in the future, but for now, don't drag so fast. And then finally, what we'd like to do is we'd like to make it so that our code detects if the red circle is contained by the rectangle. So let's take a look and see what happens. So let's see here. We will now check if goal dot contains shape, and then we'll check for shape 1 to see if it is contained within the rectangle. And if it is, we will create a label, and we will say you win, and we'll put that in the center of the screen as far as X goes. And then we'll put it near the bottom of the screen as far as Y goes. And let's make it nice and big. Size equals 36, so all can see how wonderful we are. Now let's go ahead and hit run. And again, you'll notice if I just move the mouse over the red circle, nothing happens. But if I click on the mouse and drag it, then the red circle moves. And you'll also notice that if the red circle touches the rectangle or the goal, nothing happens at all. It's only when the red circle gets entirely inside that we get that big you win. And folks, that is all that I wanted to accomplish in this particular coding exercise. I want to take you through some fun, interesting, but simple things that you can do in writing code. And I'm hopeful that as you see what I'm doing and you try to follow along, you will get better. All right, your code should be saved automatically. I always recommend that instead of just watching what I do and instead of just doing what I do, you should consider whether you might like to make some modifications and get in there and change the code around yourself. And if you want to make a modification and you're not sure how to do it yourself, come and ask me, and I'll give you some suggestions as to how you can make the code do what you want it to do. All right, thanks for watching.